So much of what we learn in our families growing up and through cultural norms is that the only way to teach our children the quote right way of doing anything is to bring in some pain. Think about it. When we give a consequence or we punish, we're bringing in some pain to quote help someone learn a lesson. It may bring about a temporary behavior change, but what is happening in our relationship? My name is Rebecca Thompson Hitt, and this is the All Relationships Can Heal podcast. Today is Time In Tuesday, and we're talking about the things we need to do to shift the way we look at relationships to support the healing that is waiting to happen. We're going to be talking now about my revised guiding principle number 2. Nothing is more important than the relationship. That part hasn't changed. This is actually another one of the things that are these two, the first two, all behaviors of communication, and nothing is more important than the relationship. If you remember nothing else, then you're good. This will help you tremendously in your relationships. So the relationships that we have with others is more important than anything else. I'm going to start by talking about parents and kids, but I'm going to broaden it and we're going to talk about other things too, other relationships. So parent-child relationships are often filled with well-intentioned discipline that misses the point of the behavior. When someone has something going on and their behavior is reflecting that, when the need has been met, so like a child acting crazy because he's hungry and his blood sugars drop, which happens with my kids a lot, the child can be taught how to recognize those body symptoms and communicate that food is needed, or as they grow older, go ahead and just get themselves food before the behavior spirals out of control. When we recognize the need underlying the behavior, we can meet that need, in this case for food, and then we can teach while staying in connection. So it might sound something like this: wow, you were so hungry. I wonder what it felt like in your body when you were just starting to feel hungry. Do you remember? I get hungry like that too. So you're putting yourself on the same team. They're not the only one who ever gets hungry or gets hangry. And sometimes I get hangry. I always feel better when I eat something good for my body. How did you feel after you ate something? Better? So you're taking the opportunity, you're meeting the need, and then you are connecting and helping the child to take responsibility for themselves, connecting them with their own body, helping to make this shift so that they can understand what their behavior is communicating. Right back there to the first one. So when we make the behavioral intervention, consequence, or punishment more important than the relationship, which happens in our culture, this is our cultural paradigm, this is our cultural norm, this is what we do in our culture, we miss the opportunities to connect. We miss them. And we need to understand that connection from a physiological, body, nervous system, relational standpoint is paramount. We are designed to be in relationship. When something threatens our relationship, we're in survival. When we are in survival, we're not thriving, and we cannot learn new behaviors, not from our prefrontal cortex. We can learn to avoid pain, but we are not learning in terms of, oh, right, my body was feeling this way, and when my body feels this way, from the inside out. That's the kind of learning we want our kids to do. If they are in a fear place, they're not going to learn. They're going to learn to avoid. They're going to constrict. They're going to protect themselves. So it doesn't mean that we don't correct or teach our children. It means that we do it in a way that maintains the connection in our relationship so that they can effectively learn those new behaviors. So these patterns of punishment, consequence, withdrawal of love, etc., are repeated in our adult relationships. When someone doesn't do what we want them to do, we're likely to withdraw our love or react to a behavior that we don't like or that scares us with something other than connection. We can unlearn these patterns when we start to realize that behaviors are communication, and there's nothing more important than our relationship. Nothing. Healing happens within ourselves and between our relationships when we start to get it and start to see our own patterns of what was done to us and what we have done in our own intimate relationships. So think about, what are the patterns? What happens when someone is upset at you? How do you feel? What happens when someone is not doing what you expect them to do? What comes up for you? These are patterns. These are things that have been going on for a long time in your own life. And it's just bringing it into awareness, because then we have the opportunity to shift it. Here's a time in exercise that you can try. What would it have felt like for you if, at a time when you were punished in some way growing up, someone had focused on what you were feeling, wondered about what was going on for you that you were acting that way, or asked how they could connect with you first before trying to teach you what was right? I would invite you to share your story with a friend and ask them to repeat back what they heard you say, not only the words, but the feelings and the strengths that they see as you're sharing, and invite them to share a situation with you too. This is a great exercise to do with your partner or a friend. When you can really get this for yourself, it will help you make the connection with other people, that the relationship is the most important thing. I'd love to hear what happens when you do this exercise, so feel free to leave a comment and share. I'm Rebecca Thompson Hitt, and this is the All Relationships Can Heal podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more of our guiding principles on Wisdom Wednesday.